brand of Tennessee. Whiskey honoring Nathan, nearest green. The first known African-American master distiller. The nearest green distillery, located in Shelbyville, Tennessee, is the world's first distillery named after an African-American. Green is credited with perfecting the Lincoln County process, a charcoal mellowing method that defines Tennessee whiskey's smoothness. Get your bottle today.
All right, y'all, we're back. Also, too, make sure you check out Sovereign Frequency by AJ Moore. It's now available on audible.com. Again, that's Sovereign Frequency. Make sure you go check that out. Support. If you got your Audible and you got your credits, just go ahead and just drop your credit one time. Also, too, you can get it on Amazon.com, but make sure you go out and you support. Thank you. All right, y'all. So we're going to keep the flow going with the music, you know what I'm saying? Jessica's homeboy, you know what I'm saying, has dropped a new album called Monica. And what are you looking at, Jess?
I don't even know this cat.
You don't know?
No.
How you not know?
He's not Asian.
Hair products?
I don't even know him, dude. I'm tone deaf to it.
All right. Well, Jack Harlow dropped a new R&B album called Monica, and this is the comments that came out.
White rappers are afforded more freedom to change their genre. True or false?
I might have to think about that.
I'd like to hear your answer to Joe's question, but also then talk about what I feel is like the radical twist of what you have chosen.
Well, I'll piggyback off what John's saying. John's saying you didn't retreat into a whiter genre. In fact, you arguably went deeper into
black music.
Yeah. Deeper into blackness.
Yeah.
So was that conscious? Was that a little twist on the typical move that white rappers make, which is to retreat back into traditionally white sounds?
It certainly made what I already wanted to do even more appealing.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Because you like pushing that boundary, that line?
I think I love black music. I love the sound of black
Who
music.
among us?
Yeah, I love the sound of black music.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm hyper aware of the politics of today, that safer landing spot that a lot of my white contemporaries have found. And of course, it appealed to me to do something that I felt like at a time when there's plenty of people expecting me to take some of the routes y'all are taking.
Yep.
To take the route that not only might not be expected, but is also the one I genuinely want to take. So all the stars aligned in that way for me, to be honest. I'm not going to pretend like what you're talking about. I was like, I guess you're right. I knew that there were multiple things appealing about this route, but I also came to the decision, I'm proud to say, off of what feels good in my ear.
All right, drop your 3-cent panel. What are your thoughts on Jack Harlow's comments?
I don't even know what he's talking about, dude. So I don't listen to his music. So I mean, that's where I'm at. I don't wait. He likes the style of music. And from what I got from that, I don't. I can't speak
Must
on it.
must be nice.
Yeah.
Must be nice.
Jessica?
Did this pop up on your algorithm or something?
He dropped an album. So here, Jack Harlow, he's a big artist. So yeah, it popped up on the IG. People were talking about, like, I've heard some black folks saying, "Oh, this album's dope," and this and that. And I heard people talking about it. So I'm like, what are they talking about? Then I heard he made this comment, and it had everything in the uproar. So yeah, I keep my ear to the internet streets. So, but what are your thoughts on his comments?
I have no idea who he is, where he came from. He didn't know Teddy Sims. So, because Teddy Sims would say nothing like that.
Thank you.
Scenario says he didn't say nothing wrong.
I don't even know what he was talking about, Scenario. That's where I'm at, dude. Like, I don't listen to this music. I don't know what he was trying to relate with. What he was talking about.
Backstory for the people in the back. He dropped an R&B album called Monica. So while he was recording, he felt like he got blacker because he's over here dropping R&B neo soul music. Then you have some black folks saying, "Oh, this is the vibe. This is the vibe." This is what the interviewer is saying. Like, so basically, some white artists like MGK retreat back to their roots, or like the Miley Cyruses. They go black 1 minute, then they jump back in the country. They go black, and they jump back. The Ariana Grandes. People who appropriate the culture. They dip into a new genre and then they dip out. So essentially, this is what the interview was asking them. Like, so normally people retreat to go into their whiteness. He said, "Well, I feel like I just got black." So he's a rapper, I guess, apparently, and he just dug deep into his R&B bag. So instead of retreating, he just went R&B.
Miley Cyrus did what now?
Miley Cyrus did black music.
She did.
Yes.
What songs?
Yeah, what song?
She worked with some black artists and did some hip hop
with black artists.
Really?
Were they black songs?
You don't remember her twerking?
Okay.
Who cares? A lot of girls twerk.
You had an error.
Every white girl tries to twerk.
Scenario says he ain't gonna pull a Jelly Roll or a Post Malone. He said Teddy Sims is a culture vulture. And then he said Jack Harlow is a rapper.
So it's Teddy Sims.
It's
not a culture vulture. What?
Man, it just always strikes me how blessed some people are to not be able to see these nuances. He didn't say anything wrong by saying, "Oh, I just got blacker." It's crazy work. You know what I mean? Because to them, it's a suit you could put on and take off when you need to. That's the problem with it. If I'm speaking for the culture, if the culture has a problem with it, just on my first initial take, the problem is he said I just got blacker. Like, how? Because you're not black. So how'd you get blacker? You know what I mean? And not being able to understand those nuances is a blessing for some, but for other individuals, we can read into it and see that you get to cosplay, but when you go home, you get to be white Jack Harlow again, without any of the negative stigmatism that comes with being blacker. That's the problem for everybody who's guessing and wondering and trying to figure out what's wrong. That's the problem. Black people notice that white people get to come over into our spaces. You get to come to the cookout. You get to come to the barbecue, and you get to be black for a day. And then you get to go back home to your white suburban community and be your regular self without any of the negative stigmatisms that come with being black, as you get to, play with us and cosplay. And I think in 2026, most people are fed up with all this black exploitation, low-key blackface that's going on in the culture. It's just my honest opinion.
All right. So Scenario says he wanted to drop something more soulful, what he identified as blacker with music. Man, this dude is a real fan. All right, he says he got some cuts. Don't sleep on Jack Harlow. Now I love me some Jack Harlow.
Why couldn't it just be white neo soul or just neo soul?
He didn't run away from black music. He basically dove deeper. Wrong words. Wait, what did you say, Quez? My fault.
No, I said, why couldn't he just say, "Oh, I wanted to make an R&B album"? Justin Timberlake never said, "Hey, I'm making a black R&B album."
That part.
You know what I'm saying? It's unnecessary to say the black part. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, because again, you got people like Bobby Ross of Avila, saying, who just came onto the show, saying Grammy Award winner who grew up in the IE, saying he was immersed around everything. He had inspirations like Sam Cooke. Who else did he name? Elder Barge, saying, like, excuse me. He has some good deep influences, saying, and he has deep soul. There's nothing fake about this dude. Like, watch, what? Hear the vocals real quick.
Never had a chance to say. Never had a chance to say. I'm gonna be good without you. Oh, never had a chance to say. I'm so confused from all the things you put me through.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a difference between influence and phase. Influence and phase. And I think it's just one of these phases that, you know, some of these people like the Jack Harlows of the world are just they're surfing on this phase just for the hype. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. We've seen it time and time and time again. You know, imposters, you know what I'm saying? Inauthentic, I should say. You know what I'm saying? Scenario says, look at the way the interviewer asked the question. What about
Play
it?
it back. Let's play it back.
Let's run it back.
Let's run it back.
White rappers are afforded more freedom to change their genre. True or false?
I might have to think about that.
I'd like to hear your answer to Joe's question, but also then talk about what I feel is like the radical twist of what you have chosen.
Well, I'll piggyback off what John's saying. John's saying you didn't retreat into a whiter genre. In fact, you arguably went deeper into
I got blacker.
Black music.
Yeah.
Deeper into blackness.
Yeah.
So was that conscious? Was that a little twist on the typical move that white rappers make, which is to retreat back into traditionally white sounds?
It certainly made what I already wanted to do even more appealing.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Because you like pushing that boundary, that line?
I think I love black music. I love the sound of black
Who
music.
among us?
Yeah, I
it's
love
like-
the sound of black music.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm hyper aware of the politics of today, that safer landing spot that a lot of my white contemporaries have found. And of course, it appealed to me to do something that I felt like at a time when there's plenty of people expecting me to take some of the routes y'all are taking.
Yep.
To take the route that not only might not be expected, but is also the one I genuinely want to take. So all the stars aligned in that way for me, to be honest. I'm not going to pretend like what you're talking about. I was like, I guess you're right. I knew that there were multiple things appealing about this route, but I also came to the decision, I'm proud to say, off of what feels good in my ear.
So going back, what he said, the one thing that he didn't say that was wrong was he said, I love black music. You know what I'm saying? He's giving props to where the origins came from and what he's stepping into. You know what I'm saying? That part I didn't have a problem with.
I think he misspoke.
It's the getting blacker, you know, part that rubs me the wrong way.
Because he said blacker, but then he said deeper right after that. I think he misspoke on that. Because he did correct him. He said, I went deeper into black music. And so after he said I got blacker. So I don't know if that's a misspoke or what, but he didn't say it 2 times in a row, you know, like no.
And he answered that question before the interviewer even asked the full question. So interesting.
I don't know.
I was trying to figure out what the interviewer said that made him say blacker.
That part.
Yeah.
So that's why we played the clip again to see why the interviewer made him say that he was blacker. And I still didn't hear
I think he volunteered that information. You know what I'm
He
saying?
did.
Like,
Because even the interviewer said he went deeper. And then he responded with that.
Yeah, because the interviewer knew not to say that. Even he knew, hey, whoa, don't say you're blacker now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think even the interviewer knew.
wrong wording. I don't think so, bro. I think he got excited in the moment and he forgot the mics were on. You know what I'm saying? But again, you know, sometimes a drunk fool tells no lie. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, you know, people, when they get excited, they get hyped, they show you who they really are. And if people are showing you who they really are, then you just gotta believe them. But why do you say you got blacker? You know, like Quez said, and I'm gonna piggyback off of you are not black. What was black about you? You are a white boy who is partaking in hip hop. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? But you were never, ever black. So how did you get black? You know what I'm saying? Like it to me, it was just weird. But again, it's when corny people like him come into the culture, you know what I'm saying, and they appropriate the music, and it becomes a phase. Because at the end of the day, when his stuff stops selling, then what's he gonna retreat to? You know, country, rock, you know what I'm saying? Alternative, you know what I mean? Like, what you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I wish you were on too, man. Yeah, I definitely wish you were on too, man.
Good old scenario. What's stopping you besides a bad headset? Yeah.
Noises in the background and stuff like that. Probably, you know what I'm saying? You probably on the road, but you know.
I think, dude, I don't want to demonize him like that. I mean, you're probably right. With all being said, you're probably right. I just want to say, like, I like to believe there is good in people. And wait,
hold up. Well, let me play advocate real quick.
It's hard to justify that, bro.
Let me play advocate real quick, because the people who, let's just say, Rob, because I know you're half, so let's just say your right side, right? Your clear side on your right side, we're tearing Beyonce up when she jumped into country music. What's this woman doing here to sing country? What is she doing? Oh gosh, you know what I'm saying? Your right side, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying your left side was probably into it, you know what I'm saying? But the right side was like, the folks who identify on your right side, they was like, no, they was not feeling it. You know what I'm saying? They had so much to say. They're trying to say that she was a culture vulture. She's appropriating country music. How the hell they was mad that she even won a country Grammy for her country album. So,
even though we created the genre, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, look at Hootie and the Bluefish. Like, dude won a lot of Grammys for country album, bro. I don't know. I didn't really care about it. I didn't listen to Beyonce's country album. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, because that was your left side.
No, I wasn't into it. I'm not into Beyonce like that.
Man, tell me the truth. When you was watching Sinners, right? I'm pretty sure your right foot started doing the Irish jig. You know what I'm saying? Your left side was bobbing out, you know, to Sammy or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But your right side, when they start doing that Irish jig, you know, your leg starts shaking just a little bit.
Oh, dude. I'm telling you right now. I'm just saying, like, I feel, geez, man. You know, this is gonna sound awkward, right? So growing up, I always looked at it as hip hop culture. I never looked at it as authentic Black culture. You know, with the kind of music that hip hop generated from. So I was always drawn to it. You get what I'm saying? And as I got older and a little more educated, you started
really,
yeah. You started learning more about culture in general. And you know, so I always looked at it as hip hop culture, man, with music. So,
what, because of the Beasties?
Nah. No, I love the Beasties too, though. But nah, I was all about Cool J, bro. Now it's starting up, so like them and Run DMC. So
I kind of buy it and I don't. But again, you're of a different upbringing, that I would say, because even me as a Black guy. You know what I'm saying? When I saw Black people doing hip hop or singing whatever, I identified it with Black culture. You know what I'm saying? Like, specifically, even as a Black kid, you know what I'm saying? So I can't necessarily say that, I never seen color. I just, because again, I seen the people who would look just like me, who were up here doing things that were just like me, that came from places that were just like me. It was about self-identity. You know, you could see yourself in these people. And I'm like, man, I aspire to be that. If they can do it, then I can do it, because they look just like me. You know, so I never necessarily looked at it like that, especially when you have people doing like punk rock, you know, what's the other forms of music? Grunge, you know what I'm saying? Like the Nirvanas or whatever like that. Even though, you know, saying they were of the lighter hue, I still thought they make dope music, but I identified them with, hey, these are white people making dope music. But it's still dope. I could rock to it. I didn't see no color line that was stopping me from enjoying it. You know, just because they're white and they're making rock music, I can't listen to it. You know what I'm saying? So I never looked at it in that specific way, but identifying with it, I seen it that way.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
Because you're black, third.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what he said.
I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously, bro. Like,
and that's all I was initially trying to say. With individuals like Jack Harlow, you have the benefit of removing yourself from the culture of it and just having fun and participating and going back to your whiteness when you're done. You don't have to think about the relevance and where this actually came from and why it's made in the capacity that it's made and why it's so important to the culture until somebody sits you down and lets you know this is why it's culturally relevant that this song was made, or that this sound is out, or that these individuals speak in these manners. You know what I'm saying? When you're not black and you participate in it, you just get to have fun and go home. You don't have to deal with the nuances that come with the community behind it. That's the problem.
Right. To further piggyback, to hopefully, for the ones who are watching who may think different than the ones of the darker hue, it becomes about relatability. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, if you're talking about hip hop, when NWA dropped F the Police, it was rebellious for the people who were in the suburbs. It sounded cool, like, yeah, F the Police, yeah. But for us, in the inner cities, in some of the places where we grew, it was a different meaning. You know what I'm saying? Because it was really like how some of us felt because of what we went through, what some of our ancestors went through. So it was more than just like a cool rebellious song for us. It was something that this the sentiment that we feel walking down the street because of some of the stuff that we encounter. It's about relatability. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're talking about rappers, especially coming from these inner cities, a lot of them are just people speaking about what they see. They're like news reporters. This is what they're telling the story. This is what I went through. You know what I'm saying? Like, blah, blah, blah. Some of it was fabricated. Not all rappers come from the hood, so we're going to stop that too. Some people are just real good lyricists. But again, you have people like the Tupacs and the X's that just actually made you feel it because they can relate. You know what I'm saying? But by circumstances. When Tupac was saying thug life, he was saying it for a different meaning. For us, we knew what he meant. For those on the outside, it just became a rebellious thing to say, a cool slogan. Why do you think G-Unit was so popular? You have people like the Quest, like, G-Unit, whatever. But I can guarantee you get a person like a Jack Harlow who came from the suburbs that will argue you down why G-Unit was bigger and better than Death Row, Rockefeller, and everybody else all put together.
Yeah, but I think that was like, if you're talking about just in music in general, like even when F the Police came out, that was something that was like brand new to everyone's ears. So people who were ignorant to the relatability of the situation still like the sound of the music because it's so different. And that part, I don't see nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not.
We just letting you. We want you guys to be aware that when you guys come into certain spaces, there's a level of reverence and respect that needs to be had when you enter those spaces, because we understand that you're just here to have fun. And when you just get to have fun and you go back home and we're left to deal with the baggage of a song such as F the Police, where me walking home playing it on my Walkman can get me tackled. You know what I'm saying? And you playing it walking home, nothing happens because you're not over policing your communities. That's the difference in the nuances that we need y'all to understand when y'all come into said spaces and start to cosplay as us, because we know at the end of the day, if the shit goes left, you're gonna pull out your white card, and I can't do that.
It's a complexion for protection. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, once again, I don't know nothing about Jack Harlow or where he grew up at, or what his influences are. So I'm not going to speak on assumption with that. So I know a different multicultural people that grew up in hoods that never had issues or had more issues than others. And one thing is, I can't speak on him I'm not sure if he's a dude from the burbs or what the deal is with him. I don't know nothing about him.
He's from Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay. Does that place not mean
What told us a lot? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, Louisville don't got a hood.
No,
I don't
they
know,
do.
man.
They do.
So,
His parents are Maggie, a businesswoman, and Brian Harlow. He was raised on a horse farm near Shelbyville.
okay.
He has one younger brother. He is of French and Irish descent.
So maybe they had gangsters on horses. I don't know.
No, I'm just saying. So you're talking about, you know.
You didn't watch Yellowstone, bro?
Let me ask you something, Rob.
Oh my god.
Let me ask you something, Rob. Yeah, it's a different gangster. You know what I'm saying? Cowboys and, you know, it's a different
I don't know.
thing. I seen Legends of the Fall. Let me ask you something, Rob. When you get pulled over by said police, police, right?
Yeah.
All right. So after they ask you, like, do you know why I pulled you over? You know what I'm saying? I guess that's the first initial question I ask everybody. What comes after that? What did they ask you?
Well, when I got pulled over right on Ruffin Road, I never got told I got pulled over. I told I get the fuck out of the car and got my car took at gunpoint. So that happened on the other side.
So again, you're complexion for protection, but again, in your past experiences, what is normally asked afterwards?
Where after when they asked me for my license and registration?
No. So that's what they asked you afterwards, right?
No, they asked me that straight up.
Yeah, no.
When I asked them why I get pulled over, I don't get an answer. I haven't gotten an answer. I only got an answer one time.
And so they asked you for your license and registration.
Yeah.
Okay, Quez. There's something going on in the background. I don't know if that's me or Quez.
Yes, sir.
You're something wrong with your computer, bro. All right, so.
Yeah, probably.
All right, so when you get pulled over, when you got pulled over, what are the first questions that they ask you?
Do you have any warrants? Shit. Step out of the car, please. All of that. You know what I mean?
Before. So with me, I know it's, hey, the first things first, like, do you know why I pulled you over or whatever, or you know why I stopped you? No. All right. Are you on parole or probation? Have you been to jail before? What set do you claim? Do you have any warrants? Are there any drugs or weapons in your vehicle? All right.
All of that.
Let me get your driver's, you get your license and registration, or your insurance. Then step out of the car. We get grilled differently than what you would expect. That's why when I'm trying to make the correlation of F the police, it's different. You have the ability to say, F you, I'm not doing it. They're just going to take your car, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, at gunpoint, whatever. We could just simply say, hey, I'm minding my business. And they going to whoop our ass or arrest us or take us to jail because we, quote unquote, fit the description. So that's why I'm saying, like, certain things is more relatable to us. I can speak on certain things. That's why when he's saying, like, oh, I just got blacker. No, you didn't, sir. You know what I'm saying? Just say, hey, I appreciate the black culture. I appreciate the neo soul. I appreciate R&B, all that stuff. I love black music. I just, it's something I just feel, and I wanted to just, wrap myself into, and that's fine. But to say that you got blacker, nah, stop it.